So, step 3. We are going to be talking about step 3 and 4 today. So, step 3, because if we go to your pacing guide, we have already done steps 1 and 2. Step 3 should be something you start. If you have not completed the other steps, you should be doing them first. But step 3 is something you should be starting on Thursday. I would suggest that's a great starting point. Make sure that you are doing your work and staying caught up. This is something we cannot fall behind on, because I am warning you, you cannot do this the day before Thanksgiving. And if you don't get it to me the day before Thanksgiving, it's 50% off, and that can be a big, big effect. Your first 4 steps are due this weekend anyways, so that way you're on pace. Moving to what step 3 is. So step 3, let's make it a little bigger. Step 3 is going to be your research questions. So you'll be given a set of questions for research purposes. You will be using this to help you and complete the rest of your project. It is very important that you do these. So your participation grade is the majority of these questions. If you look at these questions, so if you come back here, you go to climate change, it says research questions for your project, you'll open it, and it brings you to this screen. There are only 16 questions, but these 16 questions are going to be extremely important when it comes to answering the questions that you have for your outline and doing your presentation, as well as your model. If you do not understand these questions, if you just halfway do them, if you don't answer them, if you just take the first answer that you get, so if I take this, if I copy and paste into my Google search bar, like I know the majority of you do, you can hope that the first one is correct. And you can just copy and paste this and put it in there and never look at it again. But I will know that if you don't look at the evidence behind it, so if you don't look at the causes of climate change, it will show in your final product. So I don't care how you answer your research questions. Your research questions are basically like your study guide for this unit. If you do not do your research questions correctly, it will show up in your paper, it will show up in your presentation. If it shows up that you don't know what you're talking about, it'll show up and it will reflect in your final grade. So if you want to answer the research questions based on whatever the first box says it is, then you better hope it's good enough, and you better hope that you have enough information that you can cover it in your paper and in your presentation. I would suggest using this like a study guide, just like I said. You need to read through and have as much information as possible, because that makes your paper easier, that makes your presentation easier. If you know what you're talking about, it's going to be way simple. This step is probably the most important step of your entire project. I will suggest this, that if you plan on going to college and you don't do your research well, you will not do well in college, because college is mostly based on research. So you need to, so for instance, look and see if it is a good site. NASA is going to be a great site for climate change and global warming. So if you just look down and you see climate.nasa.gov, it's probably going to give you a lot of information on there. So in this first box, yeah, it does come up as a good question. If you look through all this, the climaterealityproject.org. We've talked about, I know you have talked about it in middle school, and we've talked about it in class, that .org is a very good source as long as it is a good organization that is doing something. .edu would be good in this case because it is science-based. We are looking at things that are going to be proper sources. If you choose to use Wikipedia, I highly suggest you do not take it directly from the site. Go to the links at the bottom that are their sources for the site, and they will help you. But to be honest, Wikipedia probably is not going to, I have done these questions well enough to where it will not be your best choice to go to Wikipedia. Just saying. So you need to do this research well for your own good. I will not read through it and see if all of your answers are correct because, to be honest, it will show up in your final product, like I said. So you need to make sure that research is done before you do any of the next steps for next week. Research is extremely important. How many times can I say research is extremely important? All right. So step 4, you'll notice, is not up on, as of doing this video, is not up on here. Now there is a PowerPoint. If you want to read through the PowerPoint, that is the Edpuzzle. So that's just for your own good. If you look at step 4 is due by Sunday. So I need to know a general idea of what you have for your topic. Once you have done your research, once you have figured out what the carbon cycle is and how it is being affected by human activity, you can have an idea for this project. So I would suggest what you do is you do all the research, do all the carbon cycle, and then come up with an idea. And it does not have to be completely original. You can take an idea that somebody is already doing and expound on it. It can be an idea of how to educate the public. It doesn't have to be like a scientific thing. Now, I have had students in the past that one of them created a system of natural or artificial photosynthesis to try to create more oxygen in the atmosphere instead of carbon dioxide. Take that carbon dioxide out and create more oxygen. It's not a bad idea, but you need to make sure that you have done your research on your topic as well. There are questions in your research that will help you with this one. All I need to know is just a general idea for your topic. You do not have to go into depth. It just can be one sentence of, I am going to use wind power to create a new way of photosynthesis, or I am going to create artificial photosynthesis, or I've had one in the back years past that did solar composting. All these different ways that you can do it, they can be all of your ideas. I know there's a YouTuber that wants to plant 1 trillion trees. These are all different ideas that you are more than welcome to do. You just have to sell this idea to me in the next few steps. So this is your idea that needs to be done. It will be posted on probably Friday because I want you to focus on steps 1 through 3 first. I hope this is helpful. Please, please, please ask any questions if you need any help.